out today despite the rain, but it's quite topical. I'm an Eastern European migrant, a foreigner, and in my country, in our culture, we think rain is really good luck. We spill water at the doorstep when we have a big exam or something important happening, and we walk through it and say, let our work today flow like water. So may the anti-racism sentiment and the sentiment of solidarity and friendship flow like water and clear some of the air that we've seen for the last few days. So thank you all of you for being here today. The violence of the last 4 days has been horrible to see. It's been terrible to witness. And it's a particularly awful reminder of how deep the hatred and the prejudice runs in some members of our society, and how eager the far right are to exploit tragedies and long-standing historic problems for working class communities to advance their agenda. But this is not what Northern Ireland is about. I've been a member of this community for more than 15 years, and I know in my bone that that's not what Belfast is about. That's not what Northern Ireland is about. That's not what this shared and diverse community is about. So I'm glad that we're here today, despite the rain, to say in a unified voice, no to violence and yes to safety and equality for everyone. We have a great lineup of speakers, but in traditional United Against Racism fashion, we're going to start with a few chants. So please bear with me here. When migrant rights are under attack, what do we do? When refugee rights are under attack, what do we do? When human rights are under attack, what do we do? Say it loud, say it clear.
Refugees are welcome here.
Say it loud, say it clear.
Refugees are welcome here.
Say it loud, say it clear.
Refugees are welcome here.
Woo! Our first speaker is Elaine, Crory, a powerful voice for the women's movement and a lobbyist and a representative of Raise Her Voice. Thank you, Elaine.
Thank you, Ivanka. Thank you, United Against Racism, and thank you everyone who's come out. The rain has really ramped it up now, just to say thanks again. Okay, so my name's Elaine, and I'm a feminist activist. I've been at this in one form or another since I was a teenager, and that's 30 odd years. That's 30 years of trying to make people pay attention to what we're talking about, 30 years of trying to shift public opinion, 30 years of dragging our uniquely obstinate politicians to a position where they can even gesture at caring about the things that we care about. A lot of my work for the last few years has been about gender-based violence or violence against women and girls. Sometimes the marches that we've been involved in organising, such as Reclaim the Night, which happens every year here at the end of November, sometimes they get refused permission for being too controversial. When they do get covered by the media, we get mocked. Literally hundreds of Ulster's finest sons lining up to tell us to get back into the kitchen. When I go on the radio to talk about the work I do with Raise Your Voice and at WRDA, they're there again, wondering why I am so mean to men. Whereas TV, these brave defenders of women's rights have a lot of feelings about my appearance. So when people claim to be defending women, my instinct is to take it with a pinch of salt. Whether they're claiming to do so by attacking our trans siblings, and especially when they're claiming to do so by attacking our migrant friends and neighbours. Every year, there are thousands of complaints of sexual violence and multiples more complaints of domestic abuse to the police. And we know that's the tip of the iceberg because many people just don't report. You've probably heard the statistics that We're one of the most dangerous places in Europe to be a woman. 25 women killed here since 2020, one of them last week. Violence against women and girls harms over 90% of girls before they even are women. The average age of first experience coincides with the onset of puberty. So that means that what happened to that poor girl in Ballymena last weekend makes her typical, not an outlier. And it's to our eternal shame that so many people have ignored this problem for so long. But what we don't need to do is look at newcomers or at any other marginalised group of people to see who's responsible. The call is coming from inside the house. And that's why these women who have died don't get big protests and riots. Because those big brave men wrecking their communities, burning out homes, they don't care about women. They're expressing their racism and only their racism. They're expressing their violent tendencies and the fact that if anybody's going to be hurt, they're going to be the ones to do it. Their racism is directly harming the women and the girls who had to flee their homes on Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night. The racism is spreading fear, and every single politician who leans on so-called legitimate concerns is amplifying that fear and that hate. So I'm a feminist who's been in this fight for years, and we know that gender inequality and patriarchy is at the root of all our problems. We know that we can fight those things as a united community, and we reject every single word of their racist poison. Thank you.